mean, I had a family. I was a breadwinner before I was injured. And then I was not going to lie in bed and look at my family, my wife and my kids suffering, or my wife now supporting me. You know, I said, now I must do something. And something, you know, I didn't know what, but I said, this is not the end of it. As long as I can push this wheelchair, I'm still going to do things.
Good evening. My name is Joshua Mabena, the CEO of the foundation, Friday Mavuso Foundation. We are gathered here today to commemorate the Disability Month and also to commemorate the life of Friday Mavuso. Friday Mavuso was the freedom fighter, was the human right, was the icon, the entrepreneur, and politically, and the human right persons, Friday Mavuso.
Friday is a man of many different faces. He can mix in any company.
I just think that Friday Mavuso is a great guy.
He's one of the few people that I've ever worked with for whom my respect only grows. The more I work with him, the more I get to know him.
Our issues are human rights issues.
Friday Mavuso was a person who had a dream about disabled people. Friday Mavuso had the ambition and had ways of making sure that persons with disabilities are being recognized and being taken seriously.
The family, it's working, and we are all left alone in the house with maybe a mug, a big cup of tea and bread, and then it ends there. You get the decent meal when everybody comes back from work.
Friday Mavuso, he once saw the niche, and in that he makes sure that out of what he sees as a problem, he sees an opportunity. Friday Mavuso, he started the Soweto self-help group, of which is called the SHARP. And the SHARP was the self-help factory, of which he ended up employing almost 130 people. Friday Mavuso started SHARP from scratch. He also started, or he was amongst the co-founders of the Disabled People South Africa. Friday Mavuso had made other people to start believing in disabled people. We had people like the big companies like the Hewlett-Packard, the big mines who taken part of their jobs and contracted to SHARP.
In fact, we are competing with able-bodied people because we're trying to prove that we can do far better than they can do. So it's business time. We've got to talk business.
9 months ago, that Mr. Friday Mavuso came and saw me at the mine, inquired whether he and his fellow paraplegics at SHARP can do business with the mine. I saw the possibility, but me and Mr. Friday Mavuso agreed that further training will be needed for the people. I arranged via the Goldfields Training Center at Kloof Mine for a 4-week course, and they've delivered since then to this mine kilometers of lighting cable. There shouldn't be any reason why we should stop. Giving them the lighting cable at least, and if they expand, give them any other work that they can possibly do for us.
And out of that, the job was similar to the one that had been done by able-bodied. And in that, we also seen that of Mavuso's life, there's much that has been done, and that need to be commemorated and being recognized. So we started this foundation to try and take this dream of Friday Mavuso forward.
It so happened early last year that we were sitting down with people from Hewlett-Packard when I learnt from them that this organization called SHAP was handling their repair work for pocket calculators. We were impressed with the organization, the administrative ability, but probably more than anything else by their dedication to tackling the work on hand. So we decided in principle right away that we would offer them our camera repair business. One thing that was made clear to us from the beginning by SHAP was that they would be very happy to do this business on a competitive basis and not to regard them as a charitable institution. And we have tried to follow that precept in judging their workmanship and so forth. And I'm very happy to say that they've come up to scratch on all counts. We're extremely pleased with it. We're saving money in the operation, so it was a good business decision for Kodak. And at the same time, I must admit, we feel very, very good about helping an organization such as SHAP.
Today we are like an octopus, because we not only deal with, employment issues. We are involved in health, we are involved in recreation, we are involved in things like housing for the disabled, and of course education.
2% quota has not been reached by companies, because every time when you ask them why isn't it a problem for them to hire persons with disabilities, they'll tell you of the issue of education. People are not educated, they don't meet their criteria, so forth and so on. So now with this foundation, we'll try to readdress the issue of education so that people with disability can be employed. As we know that there are people who are educated today because of Friday Mavuso.
My name is Tsitsi Low, and I was helped by SHAP from my secondary school from standard 9 to standard 10. Thereafter, they helped me to organize a bursary from the Department of Labor, which is now called Department of Labor. And then I went to University of Cape Town to study Bachelor of Social Science in Economics, and Industrial Psychology and Personal Management. Thereafter, I did the postgraduate diploma in management, also at University of Cape Town.
He forced the institution to start looking or trying to address the issue of universal access, and he also pressure some other companies to start looking at the employment equity, start to employ people with disabilities. And Friday Mavuso, he had his own ways of dealing with things, and he was not promoting the issue of a disabled person being the issue of socially or being the issue of health. So he wanted people with disabilities to earn their incomes rather than being given the social grant. Disability grant is a problem because when you look at it, you find that it's a fraction of the average spending of a normal person. And for that, you find that people with disabilities, they've got problems of their health that need to be attended. They need other staff. If ever they travel to town, they pay more. They pay more than the able bodies. And for that, when you look at it, it's not that much. It cannot survive them. But if they'll have their employment, that means they can take care of themselves. When you look at how people with disabilities have been hired by these companies, really it doesn't actually address the issue of employment or try to explain the anger or how the person with disability is feeling. Because honestly, these people are not being given the right platform to perform accordingly. You find that the persons who had the skills of doing something of a managerially, or that is been done by a managerial, but it's been given something, a job to file papers, to answer phone, and of which that's not something that we want as disabled persons. As disabled persons, we want to compete accordingly. That is why as a foundation, we try to address the issue of education. There are people who want to assist or want to assist people with disability, but they don't know how. And of which now we wanted to run a sensitization program that will assist big companies to know how to deal with people with disabilities. We'll be running the awareness, of which that will do hand in hand with the disabled people in South Africa, because I think they are the champions in that. We will be looking every person with disabilities who need an assistant, he can apply to the foundation to be assisted. We don't care whether it's a paraplegic, it's a blind, it's a deaf, or it's a mentally disabled person, but we'll be assisting everyone with disabilities. Actually, when you look, during the years of Friday Mavuso, almost every province wanted to adopt the model of Friday. And as you look now, we still have problems with SHARP. And we had other organizations that have followed the footsteps of Friday Mavuso and now are suffering because they don't get contract, they don't get all those kind of things. So as the foundation will go back and look at those organizations that need an assistant, then and see how best we can assist those factories, and see how best we can link them to big companies to have contract so that they'll sustain themselves. During those years, you find that the government will take decisions on behalf of persons with disabilities. And that had angered the persons with disabilities, because you find that people, they've just took decisions without consulting the disabled persons. And we started a slogan saying, nothing about us without us.